it's so awesome to finally see you again here on the Interaction webcast. This is awesome. Hey, I have big news. So we've been talking to a lot of people out, and people have, you may or may not know this, but people out in the workplace actually have problems like every day. Yes.
What?
And they're unable to handle, and one of the biggest ones that when I talk to these managers all the time is, they'll just come in and they realize they have to terminate somebody, and the manager has to terminate, and they go to HR, and then something happens and we never know what happened. So what happens in the HR world when I come to you and I say we need to terminate somebody?
Oh, wow. Good question. A lot of different paths this can go down, but the typical process in a company, if a manager is looking to terminate someone and comes to HR, we're going to ask for documentation. We're going to be looking at like the plans that have been put in place for that individual. A lot of times we don't have anything. There's no data. So I think that's that rub a lot with HR and managers and people saying HR never lets you fire anybody, because what we're looking for is to minimize risk for that organization. So we want there to be some type of documentation and plan, which most people do not have, or they haven't done it well. And when we don't
So
have
it's almost like a gut check.
Or we'll go back to the annual performance review, which again may or may not be valuable to us in some kind of way, but it's definitely not current or relevant. So again, we don't have a lot to go with. So there's a lot of risk involved when somebody says, I want to, terminate someone. So HR spends some time then evaluating that risk. There's going to be times that we get attorneys involved. We may potentially, look at doing things like offering severance. So it's not always easy when it comes to terminating someone.
So it's expensive, and everything. There's a million different variables when you're getting rid of someone, and the main reason is because you don't have the data. Right. So what do you do? What can you do if you do have the data? How would it work if you do have access to that data? How would that look?
Okay, can I share my screen with you?
Oh, sure.
Because what I would love to do is show you what we have at Interaction is the data. It is exactly what leaders, HR need to do. And so you're not looking at this last minute, we're in a bad place and we need to terminate somebody immediately with no data. What we like to do is if you came to me, you're the manager, Dan, and you came to me and you said, I need to terminate Stuart. I'm going to pull up my Interaction screen, HR view. I'm going to type in Stuart's name and I'm going to look up Stuart. And what we're going to see from Stuart's dashboard, I've already, just by looking at your direct reports, I can see that there's some action that's been needed. So you've probably been doing some good things to document Stuart.
Look at that good looking guy up there.
Look at him there.
Yeah.
So I look at Stuart and I'm going to actually drill down a little bit deeper into Stuart's dashboard. And what starts to be displayed is the interactions that Stuart is having with others, the goals and objectives that Stuart has. And I can tell that he's not performing well based on feedback from others on those objectives, but he's also not interacting well with others. So he's had quite a few interactions, 1,141, with mainly the IT department and in particular Sheila Stetson. So the value of seeing this data is I could actually support you as a manager because I have recorded documentation of where he has not been performing, where the feedback is coming from not just a person, but it's coming collectively, negatively from others. And we've actually had an opportunity to meet with him and share feedback with him along the way. So this data would allow me to immediately say, yes, we can terminate based on the performance of the individual.
That is awesome. And that makes it easier for, I guess, the exit interview as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Being able to talk. And so what we hope to do and what you can do when you have this data is we shouldn't get this far. We should already know that there's challenges with Stuart for whatever reason, and we can drill down deeply into each of the pieces of feedback on him to see, is this a communication challenge? Is this a consistent pattern of feedback that's coming? So again, the more data that you have, the easier it is to actually help that person change the behaviors that are happening and help them be successful.
Well, that's really cool. And that's all available to everybody with the Interaction software.
You bet.
That's awesome. All right. Well, we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.